be next when they go back to quarter turns. And then now we have the wellness division, which is kind of in between a figure and bikini, and then to bikini. So they're actually different classes and divisions depending on the person's genetics and what physique that they personally want to build and how they want to compete. And here we have number 208, Kristen Licianto. There's the ab and thigh pose. This is the hands clasp most muscular pose. You can see right now the hands extended. The poses are slightly different between bodybuilding and physique. The hands are always open when you do the double bicep pose like that. Up next, number 209, Christine McAuliffe. This is a great definition inside of her legs. Extends that quad to show that quad. So what they're doing, you see her getting her foot set first. You set at the foot and then you flex every muscle in your body from your foot up to your ankle, calf, knee, hamstrings, glutes. It goes right up your body, up to your head. So right now she's smiling. She's flexing every muscle in her body. Up next, number 210, Irene Puckett. Now this first look that the judges are getting is the athletes when they walk on stage. It definitely is the first time they're seeing the athlete, but what the athletes do with this individual presentation is they don't have to do the mandatory poses. So what they can do is adjust these poses to how they can show their strengths and hide their flaws, which is what you want to do on stage, and which is very hard to do because you're standing on stage in a bikini at this point. And you have 7 judges looking at you from every angle. So they're seeing everything on your physique from 360 degrees around when you do the quarter turns, etc. So it's really hard to hide stuff, but just by twisting your body a little bit and turning and modifying those poses, you can literally change the way your body looks illusion-wise to have a smaller waist, wider shoulders, bigger arms, whatever the case may be.
Quarter turn to the right.
And they'll go through the quarter turns now. They'll check the shape. Symmetry.
Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Front double bicep.
And now go on to the mandatory poses. So the front double bicep. So looking for size, shape, symmetry, hardness.
Back double bicep.
Rear double bicep.
Side tricep.
Moving on to the side tricep.
Abdominals and thigh.
And moving on to the ab and thigh pose.
And head release.
So in the physique division, you have the 4 quarter turns and then the 5 mandatories. So you have all those to be judged on. Whereas bikini, when they come out, they have 2 poses, front and back pose. So you're going to see the difference as we go along. Some divisions have more poses, some divisions have less. And you'll be able to tell, you know, when we go through these, what divisions have what poses, but your score is all based on how many of those poses there are. So if you have 7 poses like the men's open bodybuilding, your score is spread out over 7 poses plus the 4 quarter turns. When you get to something like bikini, there's no quarter turns, there's no poses, you have a front and back pose. So 50% of the score is front, 50% is the back. And we're going to move on to Women's Physique Open Class B. First up is number 211, Carrie Chase. Great muscularity, great definition, and good overall shape.
Moving around.
Up next, number 212, Lyudmila Hilanska. And again, they don't have to do the mandatories right now, but they're going to definitely want to show their strengths. She definitely brings a lot of muscle to the stage. So you can see she actually has a tattoo on her forearm. A lot of questions about tattoos. Do they, hinder performance? Do they change the score? Tattoos are not scored. So back in the day, it might have, been something on the scoring sheet that somebody might have marked someone down because of them. In 2022, so many people have tattoos that the judges look right past them now. They don't even see them. Up next, number 213, Stephanie Huffman. Stephanie's bringing some really good conditioning here. Avid thigh pose. Up next, number 214, Amanda Strickland. Amanda's in great condition too. Brings a lot of muscle to the stage. They may also notice these suits that the women are wearing. They're kind of like a two-piece bikini that attaches in the back. These suits are not something you buy at like a surf shop or the mall. These are specifically made for these competitions. There are companies that make them specifically for whether it's physique or whatever division you're in. They'll make it custom to you. And you see all those kind of shiny rhinestones. Most of them are Swarovski crystals that are on there. And they kind of apply them to where the light reflects off them and you have those cool colors and stuff like that. Next up, number 268, Jen Roberts. And that's going to bring out all the ladies now for the pre-judging portion. And we're going to compare them. All right, now you're also going to see Tyler, who's the head judge, move them around. Which it begins here. So what he's trying to do is put the people next to each other that compare better than the others. Meaning what they'll do is they'll try to get the person who fits the criteria best, who's got the best size, shape, muscularity, symmetry, etc. And then they'll move the other ones around that person to see how they stack up. So everybody will get compared to everybody else. And now they'll go through the mandatories. So we'll start with the front double bicep, the side chest.
Back of the bicep.
The rear double bicep.
Side tricep. Abdominals and thighs. And relax. Thank you, ladies.
And that's going to wrap it up for Women's Physique Open Class B. And we're going to head into Women's Physique Open Class C next. There are 5 competitors in this class. Up first, number 206, Layla Hanna. And as they get a little bit taller, they get a little bit bigger, muscle-wise also. Kind of just comes with the territory. Next up, number 215, Marquetta Hildreth. Up next, number 216, Jolene Keith. The thing that jumps out right now, she's got really good shape. She's very lean, good muscularity, great shape. It's a very hard thing to do when you're building your body, is to build all the muscle groups equally enough to where you have really good shape and they all flow together. It's not every muscle group grows the same way. It's not like you go train your body and it just winds up like that. Like, it takes a lot of thought, planning, and sometimes it takes longer to do because certain body parts don't want to grow. But the ultimate goal is to put a physique together that flows really well together and everything's very proportioned. Next up, number 217, Casey Nelson. Shoot the one-hand overhead abdominal thigh, which is technically not a mandatory pose, but you see how you can adjust those poses right now to where she can show off, of course, her strength. Next up, number 220, Sarah Moten. Sarah's actually a hometown hero from where I'm from, out in Maryland. She actually works with us also, the NPC, and she's part of the tanning crew that we see all over the place. I see her just about every weekend when I'm traveling. And here she is on stage looking great. Great shape, great symmetry. She just won her class last week at the DC Pro-Am. It looks like she has improved since last week. Overall, very good shape. And that is Class C. Now they're going to bring them out, put them all on the line. We're going to go through prejudging and start comparing these ladies to one another.
$220 and $217, switch please. Quarter turn to the right.
And we'll go through the quarter turns first.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front, front double bicep.
And the front double bicep pose.
Side chest. Back double bicep. Side tricep. Abdominals and thigh. Relax. Thank you, ladies.
And that's going to wrap up
Thank you, ladies.
Class C, Women's Physique.
All right, as our ladies exit, I want to thank more of our sponsors for this weekend's event: Cash Team, Spectrum Fitness Productions, Bear Aesthetics, Eats and Cheats, and West Coast Confections. Thank you for supporting this show this year and hopefully in years to come. All right, now we're going to our Class D Ladies Women's Physique.
And that's going to bring us to Class D, Women's Physique. A little bit taller, a little bit bigger. Up first, number 207, Veronica Jolie. Who is also in the women's bodybuilding heavyweight division. The way her physique flows, she could cross over into pretty much both. I think personally she looks really good in the physique division, but she's just got a great overall look to her. The shape really kind of stands out. And a lot of ladies will do that, and men too. They'll cross over from one division to another if they're right on the borderline and not sure whether they do have enough muscle mass, they don't. They'll go in both classes to figure it out. And the judges, based on your score, will let you know this is the class where you fit or this is the class where you don't fit. You'll obviously score lower in the class that you don't fit in and higher in the class that you do fit. Up next is number 218, Lauren Anderson. And right off the bat, her shape and symmetry is just like, it's really, really good. Her physique flows really well. Really good hardness and muscularity. Hit that rear double bicep. Very evenly balanced physique. Next up, number 219, Melissa Chick. Again, Melissa's got great shape also. She's got good hardness, good density, muscularity. Does the vacuum into the ab pose. Really good density and muscularity.
And our final competitor in Class D, competitor 221, Christina Nally.
And rounding out the class, number 221, Christina Nally. Christina's got a wide back, wide shoulders, really sweeping legs. What they call an X frame. So your shoulder to your hip, there's an X right in there. You could literally draw an X from her right shoulder to her left hip, from her left shoulder to her right hip. You could literally make an X and they call that the X frame. You'll see it here too. When she widens out, you'll see that from her shoulder to her hip. From the other shoulder to the hip, just cross it right in the middle and you got a perfect X. Hamstrings look great. It's going to be a very hard class to judge. I'm glad I'm not sitting at the table today. Going to be a very hard class.
Forward turn to the right. Forward turn to the right. Face front. Two 21 and 219 switch, please.
And now we're on run through the mandatory poses. The front double bicep. They see how Lauren Anderson, number 218, is twisting her hips. It makes her waist appear smaller. So just by doing that little twist, the illusion to the judges is she's got a much smaller waist than she would have if she's just standing straight on. Oh, stage can be slippery. There's oil and stuff on it from the men yesterday. And you might be asking, well, Jerry, well, how do you know what you're looking at? So I am an IFBB and NPC judge and an NPC head judge. So I do this just about every weekend, traveling, judging shows. And this is what we do. We break down the physiques week after week after week. And there is a criteria that we're taught and that we learn to go by. And that's the criteria I'm explaining to you guys. The wide shoulders, the small waist, the muscularity, the size, the shape, the symmetry, everything mixed together. We're judging that all the time when these athletes are on the stage. And that's going to round out our physique division, and we're going to be moving on to women's wellness. Now, what is wellness? How does that compare to the other classes? So wellness is our newest division, and there's a phenomenon within women's bodybuilding, figure fitness, where many women, when they're younger, they play different sports, different athletics, gymnastics, and they build up these very powerful, thick legs. And when you get into these other divisions, you're not necessarily looking at, you know, a big lower body or a dominant lower body with a smaller upper body. It's more of a balanced look, like wide shoulders, smaller waist, etc. So for a while, a lot of these women tried to fit in these categories.